Calais. It's the end of the road for us. But the migrants here have crossed the whole of Europe. Now they're stuck here in a makeshift camp called the Jungle, from where they try to leave France to reach Britain. We followed in the footsteps of thousands who take trains, buses and walk 3,000 kilometers across Europe in search of safety and a better life. It's an epic journey which requires resources, courage and determination to overcome setbacks and fatigue. We traveled through 7 countries: Greece, Macedonia, Serbia, Hungary, Austria, Germany, and finally, France. Our journey starts in Thessaloniki, where 2 women who've never met or speak each other's language find common ground.
Can I take a hug? Yes.
Really?
Yes.
He's so small. He has his whole life ahead of him.
A brief encounter between Greek Stavroula and Syrian Muntaha.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
It only lasts a few minutes, but makes an impression on Muntaha, Mohammed's mother.
Good luck for you.
She gives me the feeling that in Europe there is more respect and humanity in the world. It reassures me to see that. They respect him even though he's a baby. That gives me hope that they will respect him once he has grown up.
Anas and Muntaha have made it across the sea from Turkey. They sold everything they owned and paid 5,000 euros each to make their European dream come true.
There we will continue our journey to Macedonia, Serbia, Hungary, Austria, Germany and then Sweden. We want to live over there.
Anas, Muntaha and Mohammed head for the Macedonian border, as do we. On the side of the road, another family who appears to be lost. A taxi dropped them 700 meters from the border, which they're forbidden to cross.
We don't know where to go. We want to meet up with our group at the border. We're completely lost.
5 kilometers away, Greek police guide migrants on their way, separating them into groups of 50 to ease their illegal crossing. The tiny rail station in Idomeni is crawling with people. The train tracks lead the way. In one day, more than 5,000 people will cross here. Aid groups try to guide and direct people.
You choose 1, 2 persons to go on the front and to carry things. When you go like 2 people, no problem. When you go together, police will come like... You understand?
Uday, carrying a black backpack, is the 30-year-old head of the family. Their voyage started in Latakia, Syria.
Friends who have already made the journey give us some tips. We must cross along the railways in between 2 passenger trains.
Once in Macedonia, the government has organized transport for the migrants to leave the country as soon as possible. Extra trains, such as this one, head straight to the Serbian border. Crossing Macedonia costs 10 euros. In between carriages, a man wants to share his story. Imad was a Syrian government employee in Damascus and says he fled after being tortured in one of Bashar al-Assad's prisons.
I have 4 daughters. One's disabled. I left them, and I left. God was the only one with me while I was in prison. I have these 4 girls that I was trying to educate, but someone wrote a report against me. Then they took me, and I was tortured. I've suffered from back pain since then. I've no news of my family. I just took my belongings and left.
Imad left with only 2,000 euros in cash, and he hopes to reach Germany.
I've only got 300 euros left to finish the journey, but luckily I'm surrounded by generous people who help me. Someone gave me this sandwich.
Crossing Macedonia takes 4 hours, but just obtaining a permit to cross through Serbia can take days. The rules are strict. To take public transport, migrants must obtain a 3-day pass. But this registration center in Preševo is overwhelmed. Police are on edge. The Serbian army is deployed outside the gates, and the crowd is starting to lose patience.
We have been waiting for approval for 3 days. Why this traffic jam? They move 1 person per hour. We don't want to stay here. We're in transit. We want to go to Germany, France, Europe. Why do they block us here with women, the sick, and the children out in the street? What for?
Inside the camp, I recognize a familiar face. Uday, who we met in Greece, has made it to Serbia. But this time, he's alone. He sent his family ahead to spare them the wait.
My family already left yesterday. It will take me 2 days to join them. There are 3,000 people waiting to register between us. I'm not sure I will be able to rejoin them. My family is in Belgrade and will then move on to Hungary. Who knows if I will see them again.
But the holdup in Serbia is nothing compared to Hungary. After a week on the road, we head for the Hungarian border crossing, the entry point of the borderless Schengen zone. The country has erected a heavily guarded razor wire fence. But for the refugees, getting in is not as difficult as getting out. Hungary strictly enforces EU laws and insists all migrants be registered and fingerprinted. When we arrive in Budapest, Keleti station has turned into a campsite. Thousands sleep outside amongst their luggage. The government has stopped all trains to Austria, and migrants are prevented from entering the station. It's another unplanned stop on their journey to safety.
Is it raining outside?
Yes, it's raining and it's cold. My son is sick and needs to go to the doctor.
Amira and her family have been stuck for 11 days. The Syrian Kurdish woman fled with her 4-month-old son Fawaz and her husband, a regime soldier who deserted because he refused to fight. She talks to everyone, a stream of words constantly flowing. She won't sit down.
We want to leave in an orderly way. People want to leave. They don't have the money to stay.
There's an energy in the air, a determination to not have Keleti station be the end of the road. The migrants don't want to be here. The Hungarians want them gone. And some 66% of the country's population fears their presence. But in this hostile environment, Amira and others spend another night on the street. The next day, still no trains, no buses. Fed up with waiting and uncertainty, over 1,000 migrants decide to walk out of Hungary. It's 170 kilometers to the border, but they march, defiant, set on forcing their way through.
I come from Syria, and I'm going to Germany or Norway on foot. We have survived all the dangers, the sea, Macedonia, Serbia. We have suffered a lot in Hungary.
In the front, young men. At the back, families with small children. People in wheelchairs. And the man in this photo is walking on one leg. His friend carries his prosthetic. Overwhelmed, Germany, Austria and Hungary are forced to allow them through. The Hungarian government provides buses and trains. In one day, some 10,000 people arrive in Vienna. The atmosphere changes completely. Now the emotion is triumphant. Volunteers hand out food and donations pour in.
In my own country, Syria, I didn't feel such safety, generosity, and humanity.
They need our support, and they need to see that people are there and that people are welcoming them and that people are helping and that they're not alone.
It is better than in the Arab world. No Arab leader has welcomed us.
Trains to Germany run for free, and the warm welcome is repeated. It's the final destination for most people. In one weekend, 15,000 people make it to Munich. They need to be clothed, fed, and apply for asylum. Whereas the rest of Europe is just starting to respond to the refugee crisis, Germany has been taking in the highest number of refugees in the EU for years. This NGO has been ready for a long time.
For a year now, we've also been collecting clothes for refugees. We provide the basics for when they are at their first registration center. That means when they arrive, we give them the clothes they will need for that season.
Yet the journey isn't over for everyone. Some will continue north to Sweden. Others keep heading west. Britain beckons. In Calais, we meet a group of Syrians who have undertaken the same journey as we have, but want to join their families in the UK. They swell the ranks of the 3,000 migrants who want to cross the Channel. But the Syrians don't mix. Every night, they protest in silence in front of City Hall in Calais.
Is it reasonable that a great power like Great Britain can't accommodate 250 Syrians? It's declared that it can accommodate 20,000 refugees in 5 years. Take these 250. We're paying smugglers between £3,000 and £4,000 per person. Why should we waste our money? Our family's in Great Britain. It doesn't make sense to stay in France or Germany.
Their journey will continue, but most of the people we've met have already started to build a new life. As thousands more follow in their footsteps, the face of Europe is set to change forever.